How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Backstage Press, another episode of Backstage Press, and we have a good friend of mine, and you can say his name and all the things that he does.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Corbin. I do lighting for a couple cool bands called Root Came as Romans.
There we go. And I know you've done a few other things, and obviously I was like, I should hit Corbin up to do this because we had funny story. Well, not funny story, long story. So I had met Corbin at Launch Conference,
Yeah,
out in PA. If you haven't checked that out, for people who want to get into the industry and you live on the East Coast, you should definitely come out. It's a good time. But I had met him through, I believe it was Lilac Lungs. Shout out to
yeah,
them. And they were like, "Oh, you were doing some stuff with them at the time." And I know that you've done a whole host of other things, and we've seen each other
yeah,
throughout a bunch of other different shows and stuff like that. I know I've definitely seen you in Philly many more times than just that
oh yeah.
time. But I guess the first thing would be, because I don't know too much about you excluding that. So I guess, how
Mhm.
did you start out? What made you kind of get into this business industry, the music industry, and like what was kind of your first job, I guess, in the industry?
Yeah, so I way back in the day when I was a good old little boy. That's when I really pursued merch. So merch was really like my first gig when I first started when I got into this. And during that time with the clothing company, I went and did concerts. I went and did festivals. I traveled and toured on it. And then around the time when I turned 18, I decided to go to college. So I ended up stopping that. But then, like, I did a year of college, and I was like, college isn't for me. Like, so, so then I did my year of college, did my year of school, and got my, like, I think it's like I don't know, like a media degree or something. But and then one of my friends at the time, he was in a band, and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come do merch for us?" And that was when like I first like got into like touring heavy. Was I went out with his band, shout out Assassins. um, so then I did a bunch of tours, a couple tours with them, and then went on did a few other tours with some other small up and coming bands, and I um, then I got an email and a message from management that used to manage a band called Wilson.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
know who that
so
is. Yeah.
and this was around 2015 time frame, and their manager was like, "Hey, Wilson, looking for like a PA slash a new merch guy. Were you interested?" I was like, "Absolutely, yeah." So they ended up taking me out on like a quick 2-weeker. Um, went all the way out to Idaho, and after that, like they became some of the coolest dudes. So then they really took me out on my very first giant like Live Nation AEG tour when back in 2015. So then ever since then, like I just grinded it out. Like I did a bunch of tours with them through probably about through 2017 roughly. And that's when I really started to get back into lighting again, because I did lighting back in high school for the auditorium, like all the musicals and all that.
Hmm.
So I got back slowly, started getting back into that, and I was like, I really miss doing this. So then fast forward to 2018. That's when Romans hit me up about doing stuff with them. Like at first it was like a PA, like this is still when I was doing photo video as well. So they contacted me about that, and and ever since then I just been straight doing lights. Like I did TM I tour managed as well. I got like a year and a half, 2 years for that with some bands, but then my love for lighting and production pretty much like took over. So where it's like I went from a 15-year-old kid doing merch to I'm 26 now, and now I production manager for Romans. Pretty
That's
much
all.
handling all the design, you name it.
That's awesome, because like it's cool to see that, and obviously I didn't know nearly as much about what you were doing. Like obviously, as I mentioned before, I met you at launch, and you were just like
Yeah,
hanging out with
that was a
Lilac
fun
Lungs.
weekend. We met so many friends. Fun weekend. Yeah, because
But
me, Johnny, and Emily, because we drove from Michigan all the way out to
yes,
that.
yeah.
So Yeah, that was a fun drive. All we did pretty much the whole drive was sing Disney songs over and over.
Yes, yes. I miss them, Emily and Johnny. If you watch this, feel free to come back on. Um, but yeah, no. And then like I said, I had met you at like Philly, and I think you were doing TM for, I forget who it was the most current time. I don't think it was Romans. It was
No,
definitely.
it had to have been. Oh, last time I was in Philly, it
Was it
was.
Grin? Was it Chelsea Grin?
Yeah, Chelsea Grin was the
Yeah.
last thing I was TMing for.
So I was like, is that Corbin? I was like, that looks a lot like Corbin. And I was like, that's a look that is unmistakable. So I was like, it's definitely Corbin. So I remember saying, "What's up?" And
Yeah,
you're like, "Yeah, just let me know when you're back. I'll let you know when I'm back in town, all that stuff." And
yeah,
then when I was like in the process of coming up with this, I was like, I should ask Corbin because I really don't know anything about him, and we've met, and I feel like we're friendly enough where I'm like, "Yo, let
yeah,
me see
exactly.
let me hit him up and see what he's doing." And I was just like, I didn't expect this, obviously, the whole situation to happen, but I was just like, I'll just
Yeah,
ask him when he comes back, and then all that happened.
yeah.
Now
Oh,
we're
trust
here.
me, we were all pretty bummed when we got the news. So
But I guess how has it been with Romans? Because I know for me, like they're a personal favorite of mine, and I love their music. I've always loved them as a band and growth and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
how is that? Were you a fan of Romans before this, and you're like, oh my god, like now I get to work for Weekends Romans. That's so sick. Like
Yeah, so I actually did grow up listening to them. To Plant a Seed was actually one of the albums that really got me into like the metalcore side and all.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I grew up listening to them. I went to a bunch of their shows when they were touring in a van, and all of them at Warped Tour. But then but then actually one of our mutual friends who was doing work for them, Todd actually, he he was friends with them. And this is when I was working with Assassins, and I did one of Assassins music videos that Andy that actually co-produced and directed with
Oh,
me
sick.
on
Okay.
it. So him and I collabed, and then ever since then, like we kept in contact, and then I mean, like way before I ended up getting like officially hired with them, I actually did lights for them back in 2016 for like a one-off or like a couple one-off holiday shows we did
Okay.
here in Michigan. And ever since then, like I kept in contact with them, and then sure enough, like fast forward 2018, I get a message from Dave. He's saying, "Hey, want to come work for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
I feel like no one. I feel like if I got that DM, I would be like, I'm doing it. Like I have to do
Yeah,
it. Like that's like would be very stupid if I didn't do it.
yeah, yeah. Because those guys have become some of my best friends. Like, we've been through much together. Like, even I mean, I've only been working with them for it'll be 2 years now, but I mean, I've been through it all with them.
That's awesome. That's good to hear that they take their staff, the people that they have on seriously, and that obviously it's a friendship first, and then they do
Yeah.
the business
Yeah,
stuff second.
our whole camp are all super like we're all super family oriented. We're all a bunch of goofballs. So anybody that has come out to the shows knows that.
I mean,
The
I
whole
feel
crew, the whole camp, we're all just a bunch of friendly goofballs.
that's awesome. Well, that's always good to hear, and like I said, it's always good seeing you when you're out here. But
Yeah,
do you
absolutely. As well.
what were you gonna say, Corbin?
I was like, yeah, as well. So you as
Uh,
well.
awesome. The next thing would be, I guess, what do you have like in terms of? Oh God, I think he's frozen. Are you frozen? Yes, he's frozen.
um,
There we go. Okay,
oh,
never
there we
mind.
go.
We're back. So what I was gonna ask was, what do you have like in terms of like advice, suggestions for people who want to do this? I mean, I feel like with music and stuff, it's always a little tough. Oh wait, we're frozen again. Oh no, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna wait.
Oh,
Are
are
we?
we back?
We're okay. Are we? I'm
Good.
gonna give it a hot second before anything
Yeah.
happens. All right, cool.
Everybody's watching. They're just overloading.
Well, it'll be a cut. But anyway, I guess
Yeah.
what are some of the advice that you would have for people that are looking to get into the industry, looking to maybe do what you do, or like TM, or like any of those sorts of things, like the jobs that you've
Mhm.
had previously? What type of suggestions would you have for them?
Yeah. So my suggestion is go and reach out to your local venues. That's pretty much your good starting point to get your feet wet, and that's where you can learn the ropes. like from industry professionals that obviously either are still touring, or they're retired tourees, working at the house venues.
Yeah.
And I actually got that question actually almost a year ago from a friend that she was looking to quit her job, and she was like, I really want to like get back into music because she'd done Warped Tour 2018 doing merch, and I was like, why don't you just like reach out to your local venues or look into like work for AEG or Live Nation, you know? And she's like, oh, I never thought about that. So then, sure enough, like she probably like a week later, she sends me a text. Like I was on tour at the time, I was doing laundry, and she's like, I got an interview with Live Nation for this venue. I was like, hell yeah, sick. Like so, yeah, that's pretty much a good starting point. Is look into working at your local venues, and then also network a lot. Like, talk to everybody, pretty much. Especially like, because especially when there's tours that come through our venues, like I bother like the LDs all the time. I'm just like, oh hey, like what are you working with? Like what figures you got? What console you got and all? It's like some are cool with that. Some are like, yo, get the hell away from me. I'm doing a job. But yeah, definitely, yeah, network with friends that that come through, or like they know people, or something. And then another thing too and this is me personally, is don't be afraid to like reach out like through a DM. With me, like I have no problems helping and answering questions from up and comers that want to do whether they want to tour, like they just want to work in a venue and be like an LD or a PM. Like I had no problems like talking with them and giving them advice. So
I can
yeah,
I can back that up. I feel like this wouldn't have happened if I didn't DM Corbin. I feel like
yeah.
he would have just seen it and been like, I get a lot of shit on my Facebook feed. I know it's probably the same for you.
Yeah.
But I was just like, in my head, I was like, I gotta, like, even if Corbin's busy, I was like, I have to hit him up to do some stuff. So I would also back that and say, hit people up. Like, feel free to DM me if you want to like learn more about YouTube, which basically anybody can do. So I'm just gonna tell you, just do it. But for me, this is a cool experience because first of all, a lot of the people that I've had on, I'm good friends with. At least I feel like I'm good friends with, and like as well as that, like it's a cool way for me to like learn about the people that like work behind the scenes. And a lot of these people, especially Corbin, I feel like he does a great job with Romans, but I feel like a lot of this behind the scenes sort of stuff, they don't get a lot of love. So I wanted to have Corbin on here to tell him how much I appreciate him and see him at shows and stuff when he's in Philly. But I also feel like it's a good opportunity to, teach other people to maybe see like, oh, well, it's not I feel like it's not as unattainable as people maybe imagine it to be. Like, it's just
it really comes down to it, like how hard you're willing to work. Like if you're really looking to like take like the back roads or like, like loops and stuff, like it'll show in your work. Like, we're not done. We've all have perfected our craft for like depending on who you are. Like I'm pushing 10 years right now, whereas like there's people out there that are 25 plus years, so perfecting their craft, like and we learn new things every day. Like so much stuff is evolving, so like even if there's a thing I have a question on, like I ask my LD friends or my PM friends, like, hey, this is what are your thoughts on this, like, and all that, so, like input,
Yeah, no, I feel like it's important to ask those questions, even if you feel like it might not, like you feel like the person that you're reaching out to might not like be particularly like, I guess, like enthusiastic about it. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that like care about, especially if they know it's somebody that's like dedicated and wants to do this and stuff. Like, I did this because I didn't really know anyone. I just was just like, let me just do this YouTube thing, reach out to people, see what happens. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be afraid to take risk if you know that, if you know that there's people out there that are like,
Yeah, I agree. I took a risk last year. I did I did these EDM festivals, and EDM is like a whole
Monster.
world for me. Like, because I'm so used to doing like all the heavy stuff, and so I got hired to PM for these two one-offs, and it was a whole thing. Like it's a whole long story, so to speak. But I mean, I had fun. Like it was a fun weekend. You know, I flew out to where I had to go, and it was like a small, quick bus tour, or shows, I should say, one-offs, and it was fun. Like made a bunch of new friends that are in the EDM world, so that was cool. So yeah, I mean, I took like it was pretty much like a brand new show. So I was like, and I got an email about it. I was like, you know what, I'll take a risk on it. Like, you know, it could be something where that could get giant. You know, you never know. So
There you go. Well, that if Corbin isn't telling you to take risk, I feel like I am, because I feel like that's my brand at this point. I'll just be like messaging whoever. I don't care. I'll do what I can do to make it work.
exactly, like you never know, like what could happen. Like I mean, the worst thing that could happen is nothing comes out of it. You know,
or they say no, or next time. Or they just say no, or they say like next time.
Yeah.
But that I feel like, if you're somebody who's dedicated to it, then you're gonna want to continue to like push for it. Like I talked about it in another interview I did with shouts to Becky at Big Picture.
Oh, nice.
Her and I were talking about that, and so I feel like if you watch that one, you'll come obviously watch this one because you want to watch it. But yeah, no, I feel like a lot of people just are like afraid of like being like, oh my god, they're gonna say no or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'll have people message me about that too, like friends that I know that like do photography or whatever, and they're like, oh, I don't know, and I was just
It's
like,
that
just
fear
do
of
it.
rejection. Like a lot of people don't like getting rejected.
Of
Like
course,
it's a terrible feeling, so
yeah,
to
but
speak.
I also feel like I feel like it's part for the course sometimes, and I think it makes you a better person, and hopefully
Yeah, you learn
it,
from it, pretty much.
allow you to do the next thing. But I guess the next question, Corbin, would be like, who would be one person you would want to work with like in the future, like a dream? I know you're working with Romans, and I feel like that one's a big one, but if there was just another one that you were like, oh my god, I'd love to work with them, who would it be?
I would say I think my ultimate goal is I really really want to work for BB Rexa. BB Rexa is like a goal. Like I've been following her since on Warped Tour, and her talent is so good. And she actually played one of my venues years ago, and I saw her live. I was like, this chick is absolutely insanely good. Like
Yeah.
just watching her show and like her music, her show, and like then seeing her like on TV, like seeing tour up videos that she's posting or like festival stuff, and I was like, this chick is awesome. Like her music is great. And in the back of my head, I was like, I would like my ultimate goal, like long term, is to work for her
There we go.
eventually,
Well,
which would be great.
we'll make sure to get the audio addiction clout rocking here. We'll try to tweet at her on Twitter. I don't know if she'll check it out, but at least then she'll be like, oof, like maybe I might. So who knows? So gotta put it out in the universe, I feel like, and you gotta
Exactly. How about that risk factor? Take a
but the next question, Corbin, I've been asking a lot of band questions on these interviews because I enjoy how people answer them. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who'd be on it?
Ooh, well, that's a good one. I would probably say, let's see, let me think. There'd actually be a couple. Actually, it'd be Post Malone, BB Rexa, and Jaden Smith.
Ooh, okay. I know about that. Oh, I see you.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Where'd he go?
I was like, you just were like freeze frame and then you clicked back in. So I don't know. I guess our connection from Michigan to New Jersey is not good.
Going on.
But no, that's a solid tour. Jaden Smith.
Yeah, I would say for like a hip hop, like a cool pop hip hop tour. Yeah, Post Malone, BB Rexa, and Jaden Smith would be sick. And I think for like a metal one, it would, let me think, it would be, I'd like to see like Parkway Drive, have Romans back out with them again.
Ooh.
Amity Affliction and Wage War.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That would be
That'd,
massive.
that'd be a good one.
That's a solid lineup. Well, I feel like We Came as Romans could, pull for that one. Who knows? I know Parkway was going to do a tour. But
Yeah,
then that dropped.
bringing their full production here.
Yeah.
Full on with pyro and all. I was like, yes, so excited.
And then
Yeah, because I saw them a couple years ago when I was in St. Louis on just like a quick small vacation, and I went and saw them at a venue out there, and like I was just blown away. That band puts on a show.
yeah, no, I've seen the video of like the drummer like in the wheel, and he's just like
Yep.
he'll be upside down, and like I'm like, boy, that is some
So
next level shit right there. So shout outs to Parkway Drive. But
Yes.
the next question, Corbin, who have you been jamming recently? What's on your Spotify? What have you been listening to lately?
I've been jamming the Dayseeker album a lot.
Oof.
Daily Sleep Talk. They been jamming them. The new Amity album. Been jamming Jaden Smith's album a lot too.
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know, let's go through my Apple Music. There's a bunch of music I've been jamming a lot lately.
There you go. That's the move.
The new Dropout Kings single.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was really good. And then there's this group called Cursed Earth.
Yes.
Super heavy, super good. We jammed their song "Fear" on our bus a lot, and as soon as that bass, like that breakdown hits, everyone just like loses it. They're all like just, and we're all just like throwing shit everywhere.
That is I feel okay. I gotta give you the respect. I gotta give you guys the respect because that band is awesome. I did, not to plug myself, but I did a review of their latest record, and it was monstrous. So go check out Cursed Earth if you haven't yet. Very good stuff. And then the last thing, Corbin, tell them about you, where they can find you at on the social medias, and what's the best way to reach out to you if anybody has any questions or stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mostly use Instagram. So my Instagram is at CORBANALVAE. And I'm on Facebook as well, and anybody can, if you have questions, need advice or anything, or just curious about like what I do on the road as an LD or lighting designer or production manager, feel free to reach out in my DM. I have a problem answering your questions or if you need advice on anything. So
awesome. Well, go check out Corbin. Seriously, I'm very stoked to see him. Hopefully soon, very soon on that We Came as Romans tour, because I know he'll be out there.
Yeah, I think that postponed date, I think is July, I believe. Yeah, we're at LA.
So I will be out there hanging out with Corbin and seeing the Dayseeker boys. But go follow him on social media. Seriously, super nice dude. We've met a few times in person, and I feel like our conversations are always like, hey, how's it going? But I feel like they're genuine. It's not like, yo, I don't give a shit about you, whatever. So shout outs to Corbin. Seriously, he's been doing a fantastic job with Romans. I've seen some of the like clips put together so far, and I'm like, ooh, the lighting. As a videographer and like stuff like that, I appreciate that immensely, because I can't tell you how many times I'll record something and I'm like, man, I have to do so much post-production on the video, and I feel like I make sure I know I'm friendly to all the photographers for the first song. So yes. There have been times where I've gotten text or DMs like, the band that we saw last, like they look like ghost figures and shadows because I didn't use any front lighting, because there's some bands that I've worked for that prefer not to have front lighting, or not like in a enormous amount. So, and then if a band does prefer it, I make sure that within my color combinations that I'm doing, that the colors are combined to where it's not too overloading. But like I said, it's also, I make sure that I'm friendly to all the videographers and photographers for the first 3 songs. So. Then after he goes buck wild and just lets.
Then after it's just like it's a whole thing.
Well, I'm very excited to see the lighting for that tour, the We Came as Romans to Plant a Seed 10-year, which I'm
Yeah,
just stoked on in general. But
we did something cool for it. I mean, granted, yeah, the tour did get postponed and all. Like, I mean, we were able to get through 6 shows, and all the videos that I've seen, all the compliments, everyone's like, dude, that was one of the craziest, but like productions Romans has had, like on a tour. So yeah, it's definitely a treat for everybody what we designed for it. So it definitely it brings a good way to put it is like it really brings back a lot of like the storytelling of when that album
yeah,
came out. So and that was pretty much like the whole because when we were first talking about the tour and the concepts and
uh-huh.
when we were designing because we spent like close to 4 or 5 months designing all the stage stuff for it and we were going back and forth like what can we do for this. Obviously the lighting was going to be no problem, so I had that all, but then like at the time we were talking about like doing like a giant projector screen, to do like a giant visual, on the
Yeah.
stage. But then I thought about it. I was like, I wonder how if we could do like LED like video stuff.
Oh, sick.
When
Okay.
I did my research on that, looked into it, and sure enough, like we pulled the trigger on it. We ended up adding it to the show, and that's when we really got into depth. Like when we were designing the visuals for it, and Andy and I sat down together and like we went through each song that they were going to do for the set, and it came down to it's like, oh, I love all these designs, but how can we make it like even more, like even
Yeah.
more bigger? So instead of like just like a straight show with visuals and all that, we all came to terms about an agreement about doing it like a storytelling, pretty much like a storytelling set about how they they went from this album 10 years ago that pretty much shaped their career
Yeah.
to how it has evolved them as people and also how it helped people and all that. So but yeah, it's the show is definitely a treat for everybody. We put a bunch into it, and once we're back out this summer, like it's definitely I definitely want as many people to come and see it because like I said, with me and the band, we spent a good amount of time designing the show, so to make sure that we give like the fans, concert goers, like a show that they won't forget.
Yes. I'm very stoked again to see it. We Came as Romans, especially that record to Play and See was one of the inaugural records that got me into like metalcore and this whole alternative scene as well. I mean, obviously I've been around longer than the channel has and I've enjoyed it, but I can distinctly remember when I first listened to like the We Came as Romans to Plant a Seed, and I was just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
like this band's
Wow, this
awesome.
is sick.
Yeah, this is sick, man. But seriously, check out Corbin. If you see him at a show, go say what's up. He is. I can tell you, he's very personable, so he'll probably say what's up back. But go check out the lighting. Go check out the We Came as Roman store. Make sure to follow him on social media. And if you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. Make sure to go tweet at BB Rexa because we gotta make that dream happen for Corbin. He's my guy. I gotta make the clout work here. So let's get it going. And thanks, of course, to Corbin for coming on and chatting, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Pleasure for sure.